If my family were a dinner table, I wouldn't have a seat. I'd be the folding chair in the hallway, brought out when something breaks, when they need an extra pair of hands, when they want the photo to look fuller, then shoved back into a closet the moment everything looks perfect again. That sounds bitter. It is. But bitter is usually what happens when you're the overlooked daughter for almost 3 decades. I'm Sean Hankins, 29 years old, living alone in a small apartment above my workshop. I run a modest but reliable repair business. I'm the person neighbors call when their breaker keeps tripping, or when their kitchen sink floods 10 minutes before a dinner party. I fix things. Quietly. Efficiently. Funny how I fix everything except the way my family treats me. My younger sister, Melanie, is the golden child. 2 years younger, treated like royalty, worshipped by our mother, and narrated like a fairy tale character who always gets her perfect ending. If Melanie even whispers she wants something, the world rearranges itself to deliver. Meanwhile, I once brought a boyfriend to Thanksgiving, my first serious relationship in years, and my mom asked, in front of the entire table, if I hired him off Craigslist to make the photos look less lonely. Everyone laughed, even me, because when you're the folding chair, you don't get offended, you get playful. You get easygoing, you get ignored. So yeah, there's history. It was a Wednesday afternoon, and I was half submerged beneath somebody's kitchen sink, one arm elbow deep inside a garbage disposal older than my childhood trauma. My phone buzzed against my hip, and I wriggled out just enough to answer it. "Hi, sweetheart," my mom chirped, bright and sugary, like she wasn't calling to do emotional damage. "Hey," I muttered, wedging the phone between my shoulder and cheek while trying not to drop a wrench on my face. "What's up?" "Oh, nothing big. Just letting you know we're doing a little something for Melanie and Bryce this weekend. A casual dinner, family only." I froze. "Okay, am I invited?" There was a pause, the kind you can hear even through static, the kind where someone is choosing how to make rejection sound polite. "Oh, well, it's more of an immediate family thing." Immediate family. Like the daughter who rewired their garage for free wasn't immediate enough. "Got it," I said quietly. "So, not me." "You're so busy with work," she rushed out. Like that explained anything. "We didn't want to bother you." "Right," I said, being the help. She laughed awkwardly. "Don't be silly. It's just a dinner." "Sure, enjoy. Love you," I said, and hung up before she could pretend to say it back. I stared at the ceiling of that stranger's kitchen for a long moment, listening to the drip of the sink and the slow realization settling in. I wasn't surprised. Not anymore. Just tired. That night, I didn't rant. I didn't text. I didn't even flinch. I microwaved leftover pasta, sat on my sagging futon, and opened my laptop. Flights, hotels, coastal getaways. If they wanted an immediate family dinner without me, fine. I'd have my own weekend, one with actual peace. There it was, a quiet beach town, 3 hours away. Not fancy, not tourist trendy. Just salt air, a cheap ocean view room, and a place where nobody expected me to fix a damn thing. I booked it. No announcements, no group chat dramatics. Just a suitcase with 2 shirts, a hoodie, swim shorts, and the good sandals I save for the extremely rare occasions when I treat myself like I matter. Saturday morning, I left before sunrise. The world softened as the city slipped behind me. The sky shifted from iron gray to gold, and for the first time in months, my shoulders loosened. I wasn't angry, I was done. Done chasing a seat at a table where my chair was always just out of reach. Done begging for inclusion from people who only remembered me when something needed fixing. Let them have their dinner. I had something better waiting at the end of a highway with no detours. Space, silence, and shrimp tacos. By the time I reached the beach, the place was buzzing. Families piling out of SUVs, kids shrieking at seagulls, couples clutching iced coffees like trophies. The air smelled like sunscreen, fried food, and freedom. I checked into the hotel, modest, slightly outdated, but with a balcony overlooking the water. Waves crashed endlessly, not caring who did or didn't invite me anywhere. Perfect. I dropped my bag, stepped onto the balcony, and let the wind shove my hair across my face. I sat down, pulled my knees up, and breathed out everything I'd been holding in. No mom asking me to just look at the outlets real quick. No dad calling me his little handyman, like I wasn't a grown woman running a full business. No Melanie soaking in attention while everyone bends themselves into halos around her. Just waves. Around noon, I wandered down to the boardwalk. Creaky planks, questionable smells, hand-painted signs from 2004. I bought shrimp tacos from a Surf Shack menu that looked like it had survived multiple hurricanes. I scrolled through my phone. No missed calls, no texts. It didn't hurt, it just confirmed things. Then I opened Instagram. Right there, Melanie. White flowy dress. Bryce behind her looking constipated, but trying to seem romantic. Her ring sparkling like a disco ball. Caption: engaged to the love of my life, surrounded by the best family ever. Best family. Not the sister who carried her upstairs after car naps. Not the sister who fixed her headboard after her worst breakup. Not the sister who patched and built and repaired and stayed. I flipped the phone face down. Not here. Not today. That evening, under string lights at a small seafood bar, with an acoustic guitarist singing sad 2000s ballads, I ate fish tacos alone. But for once, alone didn't feel lonely. Across the patio, an older woman sat by herself with a glass of white wine. No book, no phone, just presence. Peace. When our eyes met, she lifted her glass slightly. A silent toast between two women who chose solitude over chaos. I lifted my bottle in return. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the forgotten daughter. I felt like someone who finally chose herself. Sunday mornings at the beach are supposed to feel like freedom. Mine did, until it didn't. I woke up wrapped in thin hotel sheets, the kind that somehow trap cold air, even when the room is warm. The ocean was loud, steady, rhythmic. Therapy on autopilot. I opened the balcony door just enough to let the breeze in, poured myself terrible hotel coffee, and let the sunlight hit my face. For the first time in months, maybe years, my thoughts felt quiet. I wasn't needed. I wasn't forgotten. I was simply absent. And that felt like peace. I didn't reach for my phone immediately. I let it sit on the nightstand like some creature that might bite if provoked. Eventually, curiosity nudged me. I checked it. Nothing. No, where are you? No, wish you were here. Not even a hope you're doing okay. Silence has a way of becoming a mirror, and right then it showed me the truth. My absence didn't rupture a single thing back home. So I got dressed, slipped into my good sandals, and wandered back to the boardwalk. The morning crowd was in full chaotic bloom. Surfers wiping out, toddlers losing battles with sunscreen, vendors yelling about discounts on tie-dye shirts no one had wanted since 2008. I drifted past an artist painting ocean waves in neon colors, a man aggressively offering free hugs, and a teenager trying to win a stuffed shark bigger than his future. At a tiny outdoor market, I found it. A small keychain shaped like a wave. Metal, worn, smooth along the edges, like it had been held 1,000 times before. I picked it up without thinking. $5, the vendor said. I paid. I didn't know why it mattered, but it felt like something I wanted to keep. My phone buzzed while he counted my change. I didn't rush, didn't even check immediately. But when I finally looked, I stopped breathing for half a second. Melanie, why didn't you pick up? You always do. There it was. The whole of our relationship condensed into 7 words. You always do. Yes, I always answered. I always showed up. I always fixed. I always saved. I always absorbed the hurt. Always. Until now. I locked the screen and kept walking. Back at the shoreline, I kicked off my sandals and let the waves numb my ankles. Kids threw frisbees. Dogs ignored leash rules. Couples posed for photos. Somewhere, a grill smoked hot dogs past the point of legality. Life was moving. My family wasn't part of this moment. And for once, that was okay. I stood there, watching the horizon blur against the clouds. The air tasted like salt and sunscreen and freedom. If peace had a flavor, it would taste like this exact moment. Then my phone buzzed again. I ignored it for a long while. Eventually, as the sun climbed, I checked. 1 missed call from Mom. 1 voicemail. Timestamp 2:17 a.m. My stomach tightened. No one calls at 2 a.m. for happy reasons. I didn't listen to the voicemail. Not yet. I set the phone down on the sand beside me, like it might detonate. A kid ran by, kicking water at his sister. His mom yelled something half-hearted about manners. Everything around me was loud and chaotic and alive. Everything my family wasn't. Hours later, in my hotel room, with slightly soggy hair and a towel draped around my shoulders, I finally hit play. Mom's voice shaky. Sean, honey, it's me, your mom. Something happened. Your sister's upset. It wasn't supposed to go like this. No one expected. Then murmurs. A muffled argument in the background. Just call me, please. Click. My stomach dropped. Not because I was scared, but because I recognized the tone. The sound of a perfect picture shattering. I opened the family group chat. Instant chaos flooded my screen. Uncle Ron. Has anyone heard from Bryce? Aunt Kathy. I'm still shaking. I didn't think he'd do that in front of Grandma. Melanie. I cannot believe this. What is wrong with him? Dad. Let's keep this civil and private, please. Cousin Isla. Grandma's eye twitched. That's never good. Then, Bryce's brother. Sean would have handled this better. Just saying. Excuse me? I scrolled, stunned. Mom. She's not answering. Melanie. She never answers when you actually need her. The irony almost made me choke. You exclude me from your big night, then get upset when I don't show up to fix it? But then, a new message arrived. From Grandma. Grandma. Hope you're okay, sweetheart. Proud of you for staying out of it. I stared at that for a long time. Grandma never takes sides. She barely takes phone calls. But that message? That meant something broke last night. Badly. Then it happened. A video. 3 seconds, blurry, shaky, caption, Bryce, you idiot. I tapped it. Melanie screaming, say it to my face, Bryce, is it true? A crash, glass hitting the floor. Someone shouting, my casserole. Bryce, voice cracking. It wasn't like that. Cut. 3 seconds, but it said everything. My sister's perfect engagement dinner had gone full disaster movie. And I, for once, hadn't been there too. Patch, fix, buffer, absorb, protect. The group chat erupted. Aunt Lisa. I knew his jawline screamed cheater. Uncle Ron. Why was there even a second woman? Cousin Jared. Melanie went full WWE on the centerpiece. Then the one that made me snort out loud. Derek. He used the proposal cake as a shield. Man ducked behind fondant like it was bulletproof. I laughed. A real laugh. Sitting alone on my balcony, sea breeze in my hair, watching my family unravel without dragging me down with them. It felt like inhaling after years underwater. Then a private message pinged. Melanie. I shouldn't have said you weren't real family. That was wrong. You're the only one who ever shows up when it matters. I set the phone down. The waves rolled in, steady, uncaring. For the first time in my entire life, they were finally being forced to face chaos without expecting me to clean up the mess. I stood up, walked barefoot to the beach, and let the tide wash over my feet like punctuation. I didn't make this mess. I didn't hide it. I didn't fix it. And somewhere hundreds of miles away, my family finally had to admit it. They pushed me out first. I stayed at the beach longer than planned. Maybe an extra day, maybe 2. Hard to tell when you're in a place where time softens, blurs, and stops demanding things from you. My phone didn't soften, though. Mom's messages kept arriving in waves, like she was trying to match the ocean behind me. Mom, Sean, please call me. I don't know what else to say. We miss you. Your sister? She's not okay. Please just answer. Then Melanie. Melanie. I said things I didn't mean. You were always the one who actually showed up. I just want to talk. And finally, Bryce. Bryce. Hey, things got blown out of proportion. I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt. Wish you were there. It wouldn't have gone so bad. Right. Because if I had been there, I'd have been placed between him and the emotional grenade he dropped, handing out napkins and damage control while Melanie hurled centerpieces like medieval weaponry. But I wasn't there, and for once, no part of me regretted it. I let all the messages sit. I ignored every call. I chose silence because silence was the only language my family seemed to hear, and I wasn't ready to talk. Not yet. Eventually, midweek, I packed up my duffel bag and drove home. No announcement, no heading back now, no GPS pin dropped in the family chat. I didn't owe them updates, and I didn't return for their sake. I came home because I wanted my bed, my tools, my workshop, my normal. The moment I pulled into my parking spot, my phone buzzed. Of course it did. Mom, are you home? Can we please talk? Followed minutes later by, Melanie, coffee please, just please, I need to explain. Explanations weren't what I needed. I needed clarity, space, boundaries. But something in me didn't want this hanging over my head like mildew, so I agreed. Not because I owed them forgiveness, but because I refused to avoid the truth any longer. We met at a local cafe, the kind with furniture cobbled together from mismatched yard sales and coffee so strong it could dissolve small metal objects. Melanie was already there, sitting by the window, picking at the sleeve of her sweater. She looked different, smaller, shaken, like someone who'd spun a perfect life too fast until it cracked. Hey, she said softly when I sat down. I nodded, didn't smile. She waited. Then, so I guess you know everything now. More than I needed to, I replied. She huffed out a sad little laugh. Yeah, same. Silence. People around us chatted, clattered cups, tapped keyboards. The world kept moving while our small, broken corner stayed still. Melanie stared at her hands, then finally said, I messed up, Sean. I really, really messed up. I didn't rescue her from the discomfort. She swallowed hard, then continued. I should have invited you. I knew I should. But I don't know, maybe I thought you'd understand. You always do. You always let things slide. I leaned forward. You didn't forget, Melanie. You excluded me. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a choice. Her eyes filled with tears. She blinked them back. I know, and I hate myself for realizing how much I took you for granted only when you weren't here. She took a shaky breath. The dinner blew up. Bryce was exposed for talking to his ex-girlfriend the whole time. Grandma nearly choked on a cherry tomato. People were screaming. It was a disaster. And I just kept thinking, if you were there, maybe... No, I cut in gently but firmly. Stop right there. I'm not the family glue. I'm not the emotional janitor. I'm not your firefighter. You don't get to treat me like nothing and then expect me to put out your fires. Her chin trembled. I know, I get it now. I really do. She reached for her cup, then set it down again because her hands were shaking too much. Sean, I don't blame you for staying away. I just hope one day we can be close again. Close. A word that used to feel warm. Now it felt like a puzzle piece that no longer fit. I nodded slowly, not promising anything, not denying anything, just acknowledging the moment. We stood. She went for a hug, hesitated, then backed off when she realized I wasn't moving. Good. For once, she understood without me having to guide her. Outside, the air felt crisp, like the world had been scrubbed clean. As I walked back to my truck, I felt something shift inside me. Small, but undeniable. I wasn't angry. I wasn't vindictive. I wasn't even sad. I was free. Free from the role they'd carved for me. Free from the expectation that I'd fix what broke. Free from being the daughter they only valued when useful. For the first time in my life, I said what I needed to say without cushioning it with softness or apologies. No emotional cleanup, no guilt, no bending myself small to make anyone else comfortable. Just truth. Simple, steady, unshakable. That night, I sat in my workshop with music playing low in the background, sanding a piece of wood for a project I'd abandoned months ago. The hum of my tools, the grain under my fingers. It was the calm I'd been missing. While they scrambled to redefine what I meant to them, I already knew what I meant to myself. A week passed. A week of silence. A week of peace. A week where my phone only buzzed for work. Not guilt or tears or emotional invoices disguised as apologies. My shop had never felt better. I had a couple of part-timers now. People who showed up because they wanted to, not because biology demanded it. One day after wrapping up a repair at an apartment complex, the property manager pulled me aside. You ever think about expanding? He asked. You're the most requested tech across 3 counties. People trust you. It hit me harder than the beach wind ever could. While my family struggled to figure out who I was to them, the rest of the world already knew. I was reliable. I was respected. I was enough. More than enough. And I'd done it without ever being invited to their table. That Friday, the city held its annual Community Excellence Banquet. The kind of event with too many fold-out chairs, lukewarm pasta, and a man named Larry playing acoustic covers of early 2000s pop songs. I had been nominated months ago for Outstanding Local Service and Entrepreneurship. I hadn't thought much of it. Turns out I won. I didn't bother telling my family. It wasn't bitterness. It was clarity. This achievement wasn't theirs. It wasn't connected to my last name or a bloodline or a holiday photo. It was mine, built through sweat, drywall dust, busted knuckles, and a decade of showing up for people who actually valued me. I arrived alone, signed in alone, took my seat near the front. When they called my name, I walked up to the stage, heart pounding, palms slightly sweaty, but standing taller than I had in years. The mayor shook my hand. Someone snapped a photo. Larry, the guitar guy, played a soft chord that sounded vaguely like an apology. I accepted the plaque, turned to face the crowd, and froze. They were there, my family. All of them. Mom, Dad, Melanie, an assortment of cousins who specialized in dramatics, sitting in the back row like tourists at a school play. Mom clutched her purse with both hands as if it were holding her together. Dad nodded once, stiff, awkward, like even acknowledgement was an effort. Melanie's smile was small, fragile, tinged with guilt. And me? I simply smiled back, not warmly, not angrily, just calmly, because their presence wasn't a victory. It wasn't validation. It wasn't even a moment of reconciliation. It was proof. Proof that the moment I stopped trying to earn a seat at their table, they suddenly remembered they had one to offer. I walked off the stage and sat next to my foreman. He whispered, "You didn't tell me your whole clan was coming." I whispered back, "Neither did I." After the event, in the hallway lined with faded town hall photos, Melanie approached me alone. "That was a big deal," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "You deserved it." "Thanks," I said, slipping my plaque under my arm. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other. "I meant what I said at the cafe. I know I messed up. I know I don't get to ask for anything right now, but I hope someday we can be close again." Close, there was that word again. I nodded, politely, gently, but without promise. "Maybe," I said. But in my mind, I already knew. Closeness would never again mean carrying the weight of everyone else's crises. Closeness would never again mean being invisible until needed. Closeness would never again mean shrinking myself so someone else could shine. I had a new definition now, and it didn't include going back to the person I used to be. That night, back home, I placed the plaque on the shelf above my workbench. Wood dust still floated in the air, giving the moment a soft golden haze. I snapped a photo, just the plaque, nothing else, and posted it to my business page. Caption: "Turns out sitting at the kids' table doesn't stop you from building your own." The likes poured in. Comments too. Clients, friends, neighbors, people who'd watched me grow this thing from scratch. Hours later, one notification came in that I'd been expecting. "Mom, we're proud of you, honey." I didn't respond, not out of spite, but because she already knew. From where I stood now, surrounded by the life I built with my own hands, I finally had a seat at a table. One I crafted myself, every joint fitted, every surface sanded smooth, every leg sturdy. A table where I wasn't a folding chair, dragged out on special occasions. A table where I belonged,